Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Boom, and welcome to the Big Honker Podcast live. Well, we're not live. We are, but not live today. From the Big Honker Lodge, Ron Stanfield Studio A, I'm Jeff Stanfield with the world-famous Andy Shaver.
The sound wasn't as bad as I was expecting when I listened back to it, on YouTube. And
it sounds more professional now.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, it does.
But anyway.
This podcast is brought to you by Boss Shot Shells. The best you can get. If you're going to any kind of hunting at all, if you're shooting birds, shoot Boss. With us today from Appleton, Wisconsin, home of the Bean Snapper, the greatest name for a titty bar in America, Mr. Nick Sebold. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful, guys.
Now, are the girls at the Bean Snapper as hot as the ones that are on the actual billboards you see?
I guess I'd have to frequent there more often, but I would sure think so. Otherwise, that'd be false advertising.
Could you imagine driving down the road and seeing your daughter's picture on a billboard for any titty bar anywhere in America? That would be
I think they're good church-going gals because it's right across from a church. So
sin on Saturday, pray on Sunday. But I've always thought about that. Or as a stripper, is that the ultimate deal? Like when I finally made it to the side of a bus. You think that's?
I always see them donate the $1 bills. You know, when they go for a collection, they always seem to have a pretty good amount of donations.
Well, the Bean Snapper should send us some advertising because we talk about them quite often. Because I honestly think that is the best name for a titty bar anywhere in the world.
Probably better than the Peppermint Hippo. That's the other one. That's kind of down by Oshkosh area.
The Peppermint Hippo?
Peppermint Hippo is another peeler bar.
The Spearmint Rhino is in Vegas. I've heard a lot about it. The Spearmint Rhino.
There could be some copyright infringement on that.
I think there is, yeah. Like I think somebody was
Hippo.
Somebody was playing off of somebody, either the Spearmint Rhino or the Peppermint Hippo. One of them needs to send the other one some royalties.
We were in Port of Art, I believe. No, we might have been in Tijuana. Anyways, me and Michelle were somewhere in Mexico, and there was a big titty bar there, and their slogan outside was, "We have 88 hot girls and one ugly one," and I thought that was always pretty cool too. So at least the one girls are fighting over which one's the ugly one. So Nick, you are a big bow hunt. You fish. You're a bow fisherman.
Yeah, getting into it. Pretty hot and heavy lately. I tell you what, if you've never done it, it is just one of those things that, you're combining fishing and hunting all into one. I suck with a rod in my hand, but man, you put a bow in my hand, we could definitely do some damage.
Now, do you do it kind of the way that Dieter was telling us that the Native Americans did it? Like you put something over the top of you?
No, he's on a boat.
You're on a boat.
He's
not.
That's spear fishing.
That's just during sturgeon spearing, Andy. Where we go on I can't remember if you guys have ever talked to that or talked to anyone for sturgeon spear. That's where you put a blanket over you, or you sit in a hut on Lake Winnebago, and you can spear sturgeon legally. There's a season for it.
We're going to have Lauren Voss on next week, and he's going to talk about that.
Okay, cool.
So, you can talk about it. We are going to have a guy on next week.
Have you ever done anything like that?
I've done it once. Yeah.
Is it hard? It seems like it'd be very hard to do.
It's boring. You stare through a hole for 6 hours and hope to see one of them dinosaur fish down at the bottom. And you got a 4 or 5 bar spear that, but some of these fish, I think the big fish this year was, just about 200 pounds. These things are colossal. They're huge.
Yeah. That's a big ass hole you got to drill out to get it out.
Shit.
There's some regs. I think you can go like 4 feet by 8 feet. I think it's somewhere around like 48 cubic foot is the size of the hole you can have.
Well, there's been a lot of phones dropped in them bastards.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a lot of iPhones down at the bottom of the lake.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that shit. Because when we went ice fishing, the only time I went, I kept thinking about that shit. I said, "Oh fuck, I'll drop my phone down there." And then they've got the little they got the little cameras down there. Yeah. Are they allowed to use the fish cameras like they do when the ice fish, when they can look down the holes and see if there's fish around with the sturgeon?
Yeah, that's kind of the newer thing. Guys are taking advantage of technology and using cameras and stuff. Now you can't have any light or anything like that on your camera down there, because those sturgeon, I see them a lot when we're out shooting carp at night. You'll see them a lot. Sometimes it'll happen where the fish just like they actually come up. They'll be on the bottom and they see the light. They actually come up. They're attracted to it. Why, I don't know, but it's just one of those things that actually saw a lot of sturgeon this year. I saw a lot of them.
So when you're bow fishing for fish, you're only allowed to shoot carp and gar, trash fish, right?
Yeah, rough fish. Now they open it up where you can shoot some catfish, like channel catfish. There's not a size limit on them, but there'll be a possession limit. The problem that you got to make sure on, and everybody should know, that you can't dispose of those fish. They consider that wanton waste. But like your carp, your dogfish, your gar, any like of the rough fish category, you can shoot. You have to shoot, keep, and dispose in a place that you have permission. You can't go put these fish in a dumpster. You can't. If your neighbor gave you permission, you can go fertilize their garden. I just make sure it's a neighbor that's like 5 houses down the road, not your backyard.
So the gar and carp, you're not allowed to clean them if you want to eat them.
No, absolutely you can. Yeah,
okay.
A lot of times early in the season, cold water. I have several friends and people that reach out to me and ask for, if they could have a few for like smoking. Now garfish, I haven't ate any, but I do have quite a few people that tell me that you can skin them and they're good eating.
The coonasses love them. They either got to cook them in a pressure cooker. There's so many bones in them, or they make gar balls out of them. And my dad used to swear it tastes just like shrimp.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They're kind of chewier texture.
Yeah. Now the carp. We had a lake outside of Wichita Falls I was growing up in, and there was some Vietnamese ladies that were there. Their husbands were in the Air Force there, and they would catch the shit out of the carp, and they cook and eat them. And America is the biggest snobs when it comes to protein. You know, if we're not eating a filet mignon, we look our nose up at everybody else. Well, in other places of the world, they're just lucky to have a fish to eat. So they'll eat carp and gar.
I could probably help feed a third world country at certain times, like from probably end of April all the way through June. I could probably a lot of people will be very happy.
What's the biggest carp you've caught? What's the biggest fish you've shot? Now y'all do everything in inches.
This year I finally joined the 50-pound club. I got a 52-pound buffalo carp. Buffalo, they're not really. I don't know. Everybody calls them buffalo carp, so I guess that jive with you guys down in Texas. Texas has got a lot of nice big buffalo carp too.
Yeah, we have buffalo drum and buffalo carp. I think in Louisiana they call them Gasper goose, I believe, is what they call them.
Yeah.
But
they're a horizontal feeder. They don't have that sucker mouth, so they filter out plankton, algae, that type of stuff. They're not a bottom feeding fish. I've heard fish markets when you get down like Missouri, Southern Illinois and stuff like that. They're a sellable market fish where you have more commercial netting. Same thing like with the Asian carp, silver carp. Now I think they got a new name for them I just saw, so they're more that people actually go after more. I guess Asian carp, people think that they're just garbage fish, but actually the commercial fisheries and stuff down south on the Illinois River, they do a lot of netting, process them, and they go to a lot of pantries and shelters and stuff like that for protein.
Is that the fish that jumps out of the water when the boats come by?
Yeah, you don't need a boat for those. You just need a baseball bat or
yeah,
it'd be fun with a shotgun.
I've seen them do all that shit with them. That looks pretty damn fun. So you start fishing in April. I guess when's the ice leave? March?
Yeah, normally March. I have shot them. I've shot them breaking ice with the boat before. Obviously, it's not as enjoyable. You're out at night and it's 36 or 40 degrees. But man, you get that itch just to get out there, and yeah, it's pretty fun. The fish are pretty lethargic. They don't seem to spook as much, that real early season cold water. So you can just kind of roll right up on top of them, and they don't know what the hell's going on. They think, damn, aliens coming up, out of water. So.
Now this is a growing sport. Do y'all have contests in this?
Yeah, yep, we shoot. There's a few different series. Wisconsin Bowfishing Association runs a handful of tournaments here in Wisconsin. AMS Bowfishing, which they run a huge, probably one of the biggest tournaments in the Midwest. They paid out a $10,000 first place prize this year. We struggled. I was on big fish pre-shooting for that tournament, and we had a big weather switch, and my fish kind of got blown out with some cold water, and we couldn't get back on them. And a couple of my spots we did end up scratching out. So you can shoot as many fish in these tournaments, but you only weigh your biggest 20. And so there was 79 boats that competed in that tournament. You're limited four shooters per boat.
So what's the strategy here? You just how do you see the fish and all this? Like, go through your normal routine.
So like for a tournament or just like for fun?
Just both. However you
generally I'll get 2 or 3, whatever, 4 people lined up, get the boat all ready. I run 2 generators to power the lights on the boat. Just kind of go through all that checklist for safety stuff. It's dark out. I mean, if you're not on top of everything, it can, could potentially be dangerous. And I'm taking a lot of new shooters out, introducing them to the sport. I just took a couple guys this last weekend, but a normal routine is, you're at the boat landing right at twilight, because, if it's not dark enough, you can't see fish. So kind of get everything all set up. And I've got, 100 different spots or so, or whichever body of water, what the weather's doing, and pretty much fire up the lights. Everybody grab their boats, kind of go through a little safety meeting. Now this year I'm running a fan boat, so I got an outboard on the boat and also a fan. So the fan is really for pushing through really shallow water. I can float in about 6 inches of water with the fan. So I can really get up in some pretty shallow areas or in some back sloughs and stuff. But it's pretty much plug and play. I don't even, this time of year still, I don't even disconnect the boat from the back of my truck. It's just.
And then like, how late will you stay out on the water?
Sunday night, I didn't get home till Monday morning, 4 a.m.
Oof.
So
that's rough.
Are the mosquitoes bad right now at night?
They'll be a little bit bad at the boat landing. We just got done with a lake fly hatch. It's not real enjoyable being out there right at the peak of the lake flies. You'll get enough. You'll eat enough protein. You don't need to take any snacks on the boat with you when they're bad.
So, are you considered a pussy if you wear like a head net or something?
Oh no, you'll see me wearing one once in a while.
Yeah, I would too, but I didn't know if that was like a faux pas and everybody kind of looked down on you.
No, don't. I thought safety glasses would be a great idea too, until between your eyeballs and your safety glasses is full of bugs. That doesn't work very good either.
We just cannot imagine that because we don't have the kind of bugs y'all have. I've been up north and it's just miserable at sometimes.
They're not biting bugs. They're just annoying.
Annoying bugs. We have, during turkey season, we have like these little gnats that'll bite you, and they'll get up under my face mask and shit, and they're the most annoying thing. And I don't know if I'm more allergic to them than I am like mosquitoes, but when they bite me, I get whelped up, and then I guess I scratch too much, and then it opens a big old sore on my face, and now I got a scab. Looks like I got scabies.
Are those like no-see-ums, I think they call them? They're like real little black bugs. Yeah. But man, when they bite, we have some of them up here too, but they start getting bad with like this time of year when we're real hot and humid.
Yeah.
The worst thing's a fucking horsefly.
I've never been bit by one.
Jesus Christ, that'll make you want to slap the shit out of somebody.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, we run into them when we're baiting bear and stuff like that too. Oh. They're terrible.
They're horrible. You used to go fishing a lot, and you'll fish in ponds, and you're no shirt and just with shorts, and they'll bite you in the middle of your fucking back right where you can't get them. And
I hate it when they hit you right in the back of the head. You know,
they're horrible, absolutely horrible. So you do a lot of waterfowl hunting, also.
Yeah. I've been doing that for a lot of years, probably since I didn't really get introduced to it until I was about 18 or so. But I would say, yeah, pretty full blown. I gave up deer hunting for the most part. Still do a little bit of deer hunt late season, muzzleloader when the snow's on the ground and waterfall's done. But yeah, pretty hardcore in the waterfall hunting.
Now, are you hunting around the Appleton, Green Bay area? Is that where you do your duck hunting also?
Yeah. So a couple different styles. We do some field hunting. I do like field hunting. This year we had some pretty good fields with mallards down. I've got 2 layout boats that I run. I run layout hunting for bluebills, goldeneyes. Most of your diver hunting out on the Bay of Green Bay, Lake Winnebago. That's all open now for layout boat hunting.
How deep is that water you're hunting?
Most of the time, so the best flights for them fish are when they're coming to feed in on like weed beds and stuff. So you're generally between, I would say, anywhere from 5 feet to maybe 15 foot of water.
So that's
the shallower the water, the easier the setup is. So it all depends, I guess, too, who's helping me set up.
Are you taking your big boat and taking the layout boats on there, or are you paddling from the shore?
I've got like a 18.5 foot modified V boat that I'll take. I don't know. I normally run anywhere from 10 to 12 dozen floaters, long lines, and then get all the decoys set up, mark that spot because it's normally pretty dark. 2 hours before sunrise or so, about probably an hour before sunrise. By the time we're set up, run back, get the layout boats, and then get them set up. Get my hunters at them, and then we'll just take turns swapping out. So one person got to stay in the tender boat to go pick up ducks, and then normally swap out a couple volleys, and then it doesn't take very long most days. You can only, they got that bluebill limit. That's one bluebill for like the first 2 weeks, and they're thicker mosquitoes sometimes.
What about the goldeneye? How many of them can you shoot?
Goldeneye, there's no like daily. That's just your standard duck bag limit. I think 6.
So you shoot 6 goldeneyes.
Yep.
That's a pretty.
If you can kill all 6 of them.
Is that rare?
No. We stacked up on them pretty good real late this year. They're pretty late. They're towards the end of the flight when they're in sick.
Is that the duck that the female goes down before the male, or vice versa?
Pintail.
Well, it's pintail, but there's also one of the divers that also does that. And I was thinking it was one of the golden eyes.
They do. Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, the females. You normally don't see a lot of them together. The drakes will be a lot more full right before we ice up.
That's interesting. We don't shoot anything like that. I have a lot of respect for the guy that's hunting in the layout boats and stuff. Always the pictures of the squall lines and the divers. Les Kuba used to paint the greatest paintings of that. And it just looks cold and freaking miserable all the time.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people are like very timid as far as sitting in a little 12-foot or 10-foot skiff, but it's a pretty amazing how stable they are.
Yeah, my fat ass would fall out.
I've taken some pretty big guys out there, and the problem is just like with anything now. There's so many more people doing this stuff. So these birds, I know they have a brain about the size of a pea, but they're getting used to this shit. They're getting used to seeing like a layout boat parked in the middle of 100 some decoys, and they're flaring off, and then the next day they'll just do it dumb. There's nothing you could do wrong. You could be out there and blaze orange. Shoot your little ducks.
Sounds like a speckle belly.
What's funny about all the diver hunters, you're hunting on fresh water. That don't bother me that much. Them guys that are in the salt doing that shit, all I think about is fucking getting eaten by a shark.
Not up there.
Yeah,
not where they're at. That's fresh water. But like when they're hunting off the coast of Maine and stuff, great whites are all over up there.
That late? Like in January?
Yeah, you think they go to Florida for
They
the winter?
migrate?
I think they're up there. I'm going to tell y'all a shark biting story. This is a true story. Did Zach tell you the story yesterday?
What?
Our middle son is fixing to go to Key West.
Oh, yeah, he told me.
On the wealthy side of the family that he's in, not us poor folks. And they have a nice house in Key West, and they got a real nice boat. Well, the people that had just left there right now, the brother of the guy who owns the place, him and his wife were there, and she jumped off the boat, and a fucking bull shark bit her leg off. And they gave her like 12 pints of blood. She just barely survived. This was last week. I thought, shit, screw that crap. That's what I'm talking about there. That'd be my fat ass falling out of that deal off of Massachusetts and getting my leg bit off.
I just watched one of that show that I Shouldn't Be Alive, and there was a guy that got attacked and fought his way out of a great white attack. He ended up with like 550 some stitches or something like that.
Jeez.
They said this young lady's lucky to survive. She almost bled out. I mean, it was bad.
Really?
Yeah. He said if he wouldn't put a tourniquet on her, she wouldn't have survived.
But like she jumped on it, didn't she?
They don't know. They think they never even seen the shark. They think that she just landed on it or jumped right as it was swimming by, and it scared her, and she grabbed her leg. Well, it's just that's some bad fucking luck right there.
Jeff, did you hear that story up here in Wisconsin? It was right near my hometown, Medford, Wisconsin. There was a black bear that broke through these folks' patio door and actually ripped the shit out of them pretty good. And they ended up having to. I haven't heard like the full document, the document story, but they had to put that bear down in their house before police even got there and shit. Yeah. That'd be freakier and all shit, man.
Was it a shotgun that they put it down with, or did they have a rifle that was big enough?
I think it was a shotgun. So they were watching this bear out at their bird feeder, right outside their patio door, and it was a sow and had cubs, and apparently they must use Windex or something. Didn't think it was a glass patio door. Then barreled right through, broke glass and shit, and tore them up.
Fucking fight was on. I know a wealthy family down here that owns a house in Aspen, and the lady got up in the middle of the night, heard a noise and got up, and she went in there and she didn't see nothing. She went to the refrigerator and got something, opened the refrigerator, and the light come on. There's a freaking bear in the house. And it got between her and the house, and she ran in like a bathroom and locked her door. Another lady called, and they had to kill that thing in the kitchen.
Really?
Yeah, and they're running right now. Around here, it's mating season for them. It's the black bear rut going on right now. So I mean, most of the time they're more scared of you than you are them. But not like right now. I don't know. I tell you, man, when I used to bait bear a lot more and help out with that, it's like you got one eye. Like you're always looking over your shoulder because I don't know. When you're bringing a lot of different bear into one baiting site, there's females, there's cubs, there's boars. They're checking that area out, and I don't know. I mean, you never hear anybody getting attacked or anything, but it's like you're right there. You're right in their backyard. Then
when's your bear season there?
Let's see. Ours, I think it's right around. It's during our early season goose hunting. I think it's like right around September 10th. It's first or second Wednesday in September.
What do you do any of that?
I have, yeah. We don't have anybody in the family that's got a tag this year, so we're just kind of let the bait dry up this year.
Is it only boars or what?
You can shoot a dry sow.
How do you know?
She don't have any cubs with her.
But
yeah,
so what's the gestation period?
What's that?
What's the gestation period on a bear? If they're mating right now, they'll have cubs on the ground by September?
No, they'll have cubs in the den. But a sow will normally mother her cubs for like 2 years generally.
Okay. So there would be no way to tell, if she got bred right now, she's fair game, and as long as she doesn't have any cubs with her in September, she's fair game.
Yep, correct. And that's generally what happens. That's why those cubs that are 2 years old get ran off, because she'll end up going into, I don't know if they call it, they go into heat, and then she'll get ran off by a boar otherwise too, boars will kill cubs so that they get their breeding right or whatever. It's just Mother Nature running its course. But yeah, so in the fall, if she was bred right now, in the fall she's got no cubs tailing. You can kind of tell, but I mean, you're hunting under a full tree canopy, and you can't easily identify the sex on it. So
right. Do you do that with your bow also, or did you do it with your bow?
No, I try to kill them some bitches as fast as I can.
Just
338 mag, elephant gun. What?
Just whack them and forget about it.
Yeah. If you've never been tracking a wounded bear, or you hear it,
hell no.
No, you don't want to be doing that running around the middle of the night.
No.
I think a mountain lion would be any kind of big cat would be number one on my list. I wouldn't want to have to track that's wounded, and some sort of bear would be second.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say mountain lion hunt if I were to do that. I'm going to have hounds.
Yeah, that's most of the
I'm
people.
not
That's the way
fucking
they do them. I think it's almost impossible to stalk a mountain lion. I think you're either lucky enough to come by and have one coming by where you're at, or you're using a dog. But the bear thing, we don't have bears, so every time we think of something, we're thinking of a fucking grizzly bear. Mm-hmm. We just don't have them. That's our mindset. It's like people from up north, they all the time say about hogs. Well, do they ever attack you?
Or rattlesnakes.
Or rattlesnakes. I think people up north think we fucking keep rattlesnakes in our backyards. They're just everywhere. And one of our good friends, Bucky Nail, his little boy got bit by a rattlesnake last week. I mean, it happens. We have them around here.
Okay.
But I don't ever think about a rattlesnake. I don't worry about it. I mean, you're vigilant, but you don't. It's just not something you worry about. Kind of like a wild pig.
You guys, Andy, like with your dog, you ever run into rattlesnakes in the fall, like early season when you guys are hunting?
I don't really dove hunt with him very much. That would be the only. I have obviously you hear of stories like that, but I don't really dove hunt with him just a whole lot, just because it's so hot.
Sure.
But the only time that I've had a snake problem is I was fucking teal hunting, and we shot a teal. It was right at kind of daylight was breaking, and shot a teal, and then out of the water we see one snake swimming towards us, and we shot it on the bank, and then we saw like 2 or 3 more coming at us.
Not rattlesnakes, though.
Not rattlesnakes, but they were some sort of water snake. But that's been the only
like water moccasin or something like that.
We had some guys here from East Texas, and they swore that they were water moccasins, but it was divided. Half of the group was like, no, they're not water moccasins. The other half was like, bullshit, that's a fucking water moccasin. And I went with it's a water moccasin.
It's kind of like a cobra. Everything's a fucking rattlesnake or cobra. I hate snakes.
I was so happy for daylight to finally like get up enough to where I could, because we were just standing in. There was weeds, and we were just standing in it, and every little twig breaking was a fucking snake, and Lou is like, he's bouncing around because it's one of the first hunts that he's got to go on, and I'm like, listen, motherfucker, just sit still. You don't get bit. I don't get bit, because I had some on some sort of waders, but I didn't trust them. Like I was like, oh, fuck it, they're gonna bite right through it. But we did. We had
Dad and them killed a rattlesnake on the same property.
Oh yeah, there's rattlesnakes out there for sure. There was a hunter that I remember. He shot a dove, and by the time he got around to like wherever he was hunting, like the tank or whatever he was hunting on, a rattlesnake like had it halfway in his mouth. The dove that he had just shot.
Jeez.
So you got to be careful.
We see them, and when there's times of years, the time of year they're worse. Like you can get bit by a snake anytime, year round now. Since we don't hardly have winters anymore, there's people having, you hear about people Thanksgiving and Christmas seeing a rattlesnake coming out to sun. But we used to be the most active time for rattlesnakes was September and October.
Yep.
When they start going back to the dens, you see them on the roads everywhere. And I'm not even exaggerating this a bit, but this road that runs in front of the lodge runs right along the Brazos River here. And at nighttime in September and October at night, when it starts cooling off, those snakes will go up to that road and lay on that road because it's warm. The asphalt is, and you'll see rattlesnakes. And 9 out of 10 snakes you see is going to be a rattlesnake. I mean, when you see them, that's what you see. But we don't. We've killed 2 in our yard in 25 years at our house, and our house we keep our nice yard and everything's mowed and edged and stuff. But I worry more about Lou or Ollie getting bit in a yard at the house than I do anywhere else. I mean, you have incidents in Knox City every year where there's 2 or 3 people killed a rattlesnake in town.
I'm always scared out here during dove season because the way our rooms are situated, like it's like a 2-inch step up or whatever. But I'm always so afraid that there's going to be a rattlesnake like right underneath somebody's door, and they're just going to go barreling out of it and not even know it's there.
I've had it at the office door before.
Yeah.
Dad called me one time. He said, "Don't open that office door. There's a snake there." And there's some bitch snake was curled up right there on the porch. I mean, we have them. That's where we live at. You know, it's just one of the things you learn to live with. But everybody thinks we have them everywhere. You know, I have guys all the time they'll come on a big corporate dove hunt and they'll be like, what do you want us to do with the rattlesnakes? I can take them all home with you if you get them. Fucking kill them. You know, shoot the son of a bitch is what you would do.
I still think my chances of getting attacked by a bear versus getting bit by a rattlesnake, I think I'd have a better chance getting bit by a rattlesnake than I would getting attacked by a black bear.
I would much rather be bit by.
Yeah.
They can give you antivenom. They can't fucking put your arm back on from a freaking bear.
I just don't think you're going to get attacked by a black bear. I mean, it's so infrequent that I think I'd have a better chance to get bit by a rattlesnake, and I wouldn't want to get either way. But
I've got some bear books at the house that I've read over the years, and one of them talks about a bear that attacked someone in the Boundary Waters in Ely, Minnesota, and they don't know why it did, but it jumped on 2 or 3 people one day, but the bear only weighed like 110 pounds and jumped on a guy and was biting him on the back, and he jumped in the water. The guy ran and jumped in the water, and the bear jumped in there with him and after him and was biting him on his back.
Fuck.
I'd be like, you know, some people, you know, I was in a group when we were hearing the story or read it or something, and some guy's like, oh, shit, just grab it and drowned it. I don't think you realize how strong a 110-pound animal is.
No.
I mean, it's not like you're grabbing a 110-pound kid and throwing him around. You're talking, or a 110-pound fucking wild animal's 110 pounds of pure ass muscle.
yeah, they're wild.
You got a fight on your hand, but we don't have to worry about bears. So this is the breeding time for them right now.
Yeah, that's call it the rut. Yeah, they'll run now probably through the middle of July, and that starts dying down. We used to normally start baiting. We'd start our bait sites like right about now and run them through till August. You know, just 5-gallon pail cookies and donuts and whatever cheap expired stuff, bear bait, and just a couple times a week normally.
Now, y'all same state that let y'all bait bears will not let y'all put out deer feeders, will it?
Yeah, deer feeders are feeding deer. They had it where once deer season opened, you could run a bait site with a 2-gallon limit if you didn't have any CWD around. But boy, there was quite a few deer that tested positive. I'd have to, when they come out with the plan, the game management plan here, they'll have what areas, counties that you can bait in. I know our property is in Clark County. We got 160 acres there, and there was, I believe which we never bait anyways, but we're going to be, I believe there's a no bait for going into this year because they had a deer that tested positive within certain miles.
That CWD some scary shit, and I don't guess we'll ever get a hold of it.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that, I mean, whether there's the conspiracy theory where you think that, you know, it was introduced by, you know, your DNR or your insurance company, you know, it was put into a herd, but otherwise I think it's one of those things that it's a mother nature, it's a natural event that's for, you know, how she sees fit on control the population.
Well, I mean, you know, Mother Nature keeps everything in perfect balance, and I've always believed that. And at first, I thought that's what COVID. What you know, I'll skip that because YouTube will demonetize us. But we'll get banned again right before our video series comes out. That'd be fantastic timing on our part. But you know, that's just kind of what I thought it was at first. Is just nature correcting everything. And I think CW, and I have not heard the conspiracy theory about CWD, but I guess there's a conspiracy theory with just about everything.
It all depends on who you talk to. I mean, you talk to the hardcore deer hunters, something like that, and obviously you want as many deer around as possible because your opportunities are there better for shooting a quality buck or more deer, or you just don't get bored and stay in. But there's certain areas and certain properties that are, definitely there's more deer per square mile than there are people. Right. Which, I mean, I guess that's the same thing for more living in a big city or something. There's more people than there are wildlife. I've never been scared of CWD. It's been around since I was 12 hunting pretty much. We've never taken a deer in and got tested, and we've never shot a sick deer. I mean, and that's our primary source of meat is venison. I mean, I can't afford to buy beef really anymore.
No. What's a steak up there right now? A pound in a at a grocery store.
I'd have to go grocery shopping, Jeff. I let my girlfriend take care of that for me.
You're a good man. You got it trained right. I hope she doesn't get offended by the bean snapper talk then.
I got to keep her out of there, but that's the only time to get real rough.
I've never the girls, when you take them to the strip club, they're always like the main attraction. They make the strippers feel safe. So like you take your girl in there and strippers just huddle around you.
That's a titty block. You ain't gonna get none of them in your face.
No. So back to the fishing. When did you first? You said you're relatively new at this.
Yeah, probably. I got introduced to the sport through my good friend Adam, and actually that's who I started shooting tournaments and stuff with. And I just signed up with AMS Bowfishing and Megamouth Bowfishing for pro staff. We did some advertisement filming this year on a shoot. We had a red shutter that I think they're out of Arkansas. They were up here for that big AMS 20 tournament, and we had a nice day where fish were spawning during the day, so it was some really good footage. That should be showing up here on Carbon TV. If you saw my Facebook, some of them posts for Megamouth, those were stills that were taken that day too. So it's pretty awesome. We shot a ton of fish that day.
How many did y'all kill?
That's a 150-gallon cow tub in my boat that day, and that was full. So I honestly didn't count them. I guess 50 fish, 60 fish in 2 hours, 3 hours.
Jeez.
Wow. Do y'all run into the bunny huggers on these things that are bitching about y'all bow hunting fish? Has that happened yet?
No, most people don't care. The only problem that I run into is people that don't properly dispose of their fish. If you don't have a designated or permission dump site, because I mean these things, I mean they'll get kind of a funk smell now. I mean we're cracking 80, 90 degree days, so I mean they don't stick around that long. They decompose pretty quick, but I wouldn't say that the tree huggers really don't care. I try to do my best at night shooting. Have some respect for the landowners that are on the lake. I mean, right. I try to make sure I'm a decent distance away from their dock or their personal property, their boats and stuff like that. There's a lot of houses and stuff like that on the Winnebago system. I guess that's kind of my home water where I shoot the majority of the time. And I mean, but shit, I've had beer bottles thrown at me. I've had Roman candles shot at me. I've had bottle rockets, that type of stuff. People meet me at boat landing, threaten. I think if everybody just used a little bit of common sense,
Why do they do that? Is it? Do they have an axe to grind with just fishermen in general, or is it something about the bow fisher?
Some noise complaint, 2 o'clock in the morning, and
right.
You're at your lake house, and here comes a boat with 4,000 watts of high pressure sodium parking lot lights, right out your back door, and you got and essentially the motor that powers my fans is about like what a motor that's in your riding lawnmower. Mm-hmm. So there's noise, but generally from a house standpoint, you're a couple hundred yards away from a house, so by then it's pretty muffled. But occasionally people get a little bit uptight about it.
Well, I mean, and I don't know how people sleep in total silence. I got to have a little bit of noise,
Yes.
just to where I can kind of. If I slept in total silence, I'd hear every little creak and little thud, and I'd never fucking sleep. So you could almost be right outside my window, and I probably wouldn't hear you.
Yeah, this year's been pretty good. I haven't had a single ass chewing yet this year, which is good. Which is good. I like that. What was I gonna say? When you get like down around the Milwaukee area, there's a few lakes down there that you can't even shoot up. You can't even go night fishing or shoot carp on there. They banned it on some bodies of water.
Really?
What's crazy is the Karens out there that get these people that are by their boat docks and they start harassing them. And it's not just people bow fishing; it's just people fishing in general. Like they think they own that fucking water and the fish underneath that water.
Right.
I've seen them throw shit at them and all kinds of crap. I'm like, seriously?
And like for our tournaments and stuff like that, I mean, we work closely with the DNR, game wardens, and I mean, I know like with these fan boats, we've ran like half throttle on a sound meter to make sure that we're, if there's a city ordinance that you have to, nothing over 89, 90 decibels after 10 o'clock or whatever, that at 30 yards off of someone's dock, we're right there at that threshold, to where we're not, over, our noise level isn't above what city ordinance is directed. And every town and village and stuff like that has got their own ordinances. So
when did all this?
Like I said, a little bit of common sense goes a long ways.
Well, there is not much of that left in the United States.
When did this become such a popular sport? Was there like a tipping point where it kind of became more mainstream?
Like when Duck Dynasty started.
Yeah.
It's always been around, but I definitely see it growing. There's more teams at tournaments every year. There's more people that are setting up boats to do this. It's one of those things that I guess I don't know, once you go do it, you'd be like, holy shit, this is a lot of fun. And I don't know, I try to introduce new people to it. It's great for our lakes and our bodies of water. These common carp, if you like catching your walleye, your perch, and your bluegills and stuff, well, they're just up there destroying those beds and dirtying the water up. So the success rate for your game fish to hatch goes way down. And I would say we're definitely starting to make an impact on some of the population. It's still growing. There's no possible way that you're not gonna get them all. It's not possible.
Right. I thought the Asian carp were intrusive species. Is that not true? What am I thinking of here?
The what now?
No, you're right. The Asian carp are very invasive. They were brought over to help keep like fish farms, I believe, help keep that body of water clean. And what happened was when body of water, a levee broke or things flooded, that they started getting into the river ecosystems, and I mean they boomed population wise so fast.
They breed like Democrats. Take all the shit.
Do we have those down here?
Democrats,
Asian
unfortunately. Oh no, we probably are starting to. If not, the snakehead also is another invasive fish that's gotten in the systems.
Snakehead's invasive, but they also have a lot of cousins that are native. We've got them. They call it a dogfish up here. They're native species, but man, there's some slimy, ugly suckers too, and you can shoot them as well. But yeah, I think down by you guys, you got more of them snakehead. They're a little bit more of a warm water fish.
We don't help our situation anyways, bringing in invasive. And
no, it never seems to be. It never seems to go the way that everybody expects it to.
Texas is starting to see, and I've been reading more and more. Warthogs down in South Texas have gotten in the loose now.
Really, and
they're starting to be more and more in them running a wild. And I'm sure 20 years from now they'll be all over the state also.
Well, I wonder what the hell that would look like, a warthog and just a regular feral hog. I mean, it could be a hybrid.
Just more fucking stuff.
They look like Rosie O'Donnell and Nell Carter had a baby together. Is what it looked like.
Because I guess warthogs, they've got pretty big tusk, and that's one misconception a lot of people have with our pigs is a lot of them, they break off. So if you see a taxidermy pig with big tusk, it's more than likely put in.
Yep.
I've noticed a lot, they're broken off a lot, so they'll fight and then they'll break them off. But I don't know, I guess if they start breeding with warthogs, they might
I don't
start growing some bigger.
I don't think they can crossbreed. I think.
Why don't you think they can?
I read a deal on it, and I don't think they genetically. It's not possible. Here's
Jeff.
Andy. It's gonna be 787 to 4 times. Andy's right to my 787.
Look it up.
I'm pretty sure they can't crossbreed.
Pretty sure is not sure. Fucking Google will be sure. I'll look it up.
Yeah, trust Google. Chinese fuckers, you can't trust them either.
One thing about you, like where you guys are hunting, can you use thermals at night?
You
can
can do
Pig
whatever
hunter,
you want.
like,
You can shoot them with
You
a
do whatever.
slingshot, a bow and arrow, a howitzer, an AR, whatever you want. You can do anything you want to get rid of them. It's not a
right?
good- Yeah, and I've seen people
Yes.
blow them up with them before too. That is not a good film to see because that does not help the hunter's cause at all. When you see a pig 100 feet in the air doing somersaults
Yeah,
in
a
about
little
4
common
pieces.
sense would have.
Yeah.
Little common sense would have told me not to put that video on YouTube. I think.
Yeah.
You give a redneck a Budweiser and a video camera and an iPhone, it's fucking over. They're gonna put all kinds of shit on there.
There's a video on there. I don't know if you ever saw it. It's a guy in a duck hunting boat with a shotgun and a extension tube on it. They're getting all these Asian carp to fly out of the water, and he's just. I was like, man.
The
I think
flip
I did see that.
The flip side of that is the people don't realize they try to get rid of those fish, and I don't think there's an answer for it that I know of. And the only way you're ever gonna get rid of them things is if you tell the coon asses that some bitches taste good and they're illegal, then they'll get rid of every one of them. But you cannot get rid of them Asian carp. They're here forever. We're never gonna get rid of them.
There's a mussel too.
Yeah, there is a mussel.
Zebra mussel
A
or
zebra
something like
mussel,
that?
and a lot of lakes up there make you get your boat inspected.
Really?
Y'all do
We're
have
full of those up here.
What are those, anyways? I've seen them always advertise or move your boat and clean your boat off. What is it?
It's very similar to like a saltwater barnacle. They stick to all the rocks. There's pros and cons from what I've seen. I mean, they definitely they filter water out really well. So like Lake Winnebago used to be pretty dark, dirty, stained water, and I mean, shit, there's some areas I can get in. I mean, you can see a quarter on the bottom and 10, 12 feet of water. But they're just, they're hard on native weeds. A lot of times they mostly cling to rocks, cling to your boat, they'll cling your outboard. They're a bitch to get off if you let them sit on there all year. And there too, I mean, there's no way in hell you're going to try to reverse that.
Are they good to eat?
Zebra mussels?
Yeah. I mean, we
You can't eat them. They're like the size of an end of a pencil.
Okay.
They're tiny.
I've never seen one, but I mean, they eat all other mussels. That's why I didn't know. So they're not big like a clam would be.
But they clean up your
Yeah,
boat.
no, they're not like that. They're more like a barnacle.
Okay.
They're like little invasive things that cut your feet up on them if you're not careful. But they do serve. I don't know. They do serve. It seems like they serve a purpose as far as they definitely do filter out, clean the water. But I would say, all in all, they're probably more harm than good.
So I'm going to ask the stupid question of the day.
Well, I can't wait for this.
When you're bow fishing, how long does it take the fish to die? Like, is there like an
As soon as he meets my club,
so
as soon as you get him in a bullet,
so he doesn't die from the spear going through him, from the
no.
arrow.
That's a fight.
No, I get them in a boat and I club them because otherwise you got blood and eggs and stuff and they're flapping around and everything's just chaotic and shit flying everywhere. So as soon as I get them in the barrel, I club them. I also think it's the right thing to dispatch them right away instead of just having them, run out of oxygen.
Nothing needs to suffer. I'm with you there.
I always have a hard time with that. Like, you just leave it in there and then it just suffocates.
Yeah, I want.
Yeah. So no, I got a pretty good billy club that one good crack, and then they're dispatched. They're done.
Is there an off switch? Like if you hit them in the right spot, will it kill them before you ever bring it up?
Yeah, a lot of times anywhere in front of the gill blade, if you skull them, they're done.
But where do you aim for? Is there like a certain, like on a deer, like you aim right around the shoulder? Do you aim for the gills or
that's
where?
where a lot of guys struggle, or beginners struggle. I know it took me a while. I was a traditional archer shooter where you're using a peep sight, at a regular compound bow, to where you're lining up your sights and you're shooting at a target. Say that target's 30 yards away. You try to aim this in the middle. There's some instinctive shooting to it. Like for bow fishing, there's no peep sight. I don't use a release. It's all finger. It's instinctive shooting. It's like traditional. And the problem is if a fish is 3 feet under the water, and say if he's 10 feet from the boat, you have to make that split-second decision where you're going to shoot, because your arrow, you have reflection from the water, and then these are fiberglass arrows. They're heavy, so you can penetrate, puncture a fish in 5, 6, 7, 8 feet of water. It just depends on what your draw weight is. But you have arrow flex, and so and everybody's bow setup is different. How you aim. I have mine set up. I kind of want my arrow as clean as possible going into the water, so I have less bow in it. But guys that do a lot of shallow water fishing, they play that angle. So it's all a feel. It's all instinctive.
So your bow and arrow, your setup, you can go 6 to 8 feet underwater.
It's starting to be pretty quick now. I'll crank my bow up another 10 pounds or so. Like I think right now I'm only pulling back like 33 pounds, 34 pounds or something like that. It's not much, but it works for the majority of the season when the fish are up active, pretty shallow. But they're starting to kind of creep back down to that 4 or 5 foot. They're not up super shallow. Our water temp now is 78, 80 degrees, so it's kind of they're moving out a little bit more.
What is there any saltwater bow fishing? Do they shoot mullets on the West Coast?
Absolutely, yeah. There's I've got a friend that's out on the East Coast that they shoot stingrays. Actually, he's he's through interlock bow fishing. I shoot his arrow or his tips. They're 3 grappler. They hold fish really, really good. But yeah, you can go out there and you can go saltwater shoot stingrays. So
we should shoot every one of them. They killed the crocodile hunter, so fuck them. Every one of them should
speaking of crocodiles or alligators, you can go down to Florida. I got a couple of buddies that have gone down there and shot alligator with bow and arrow and alligator gar. Some of them things are 200, 300 pounds.
So you don't have alligator gar where you are?
No, we just have our native long nose and short nose, kind of the spotted gar. Maybe I shot a couple this year, right around 40 inches or so. But I've been down by Kentucky where I shot one down there. Those guys be laughing at me. They're little babies for what they see down there. And
well, like where we are, where they have big alligator gar, 150 to 200 pounds. That's a lot. That's a lot of fish.
I'm starting to hear a little bit now. Is there a limit on those alligator gar down there?
I have no idea. I'm sure there are, because the bigger ones are starting to get harder and harder to find. But that's a prehistoric fish.
Yeah. Some of them are like kind of like our sturgeon. They're 100 years old or something.
Yes.
I don't know if it was a different podcast I was listening to or if I was watching a TV show, but they're trying to. I know some people are starting to try to protect them or put a limit on. They're a trophy fish. Like to me, if I went down there and shot, I don't have to go down there and do it once.
This says 1 per day.
1 per day.
Texas currently has a statewide bag limit of 1 alligator gar per day, with a special limit of 5 per day on Falcon Lake. Which I don't know why.
Well, looks like I'd be going to Falcon Lake then.
There you go.
You must have a problem with it.
I wonder. That's the river that runs into the Rio Grande,
Mexico.
And so
they're creepy looking fuckers.
That's a dangerous lake too. You got Mexico on one side and the United States on the other. That's where the dude got popped on that jet ski and got killed.
What for? What was he doing wrong?
well, they say he was doing nothing wrong, but the drug cartel killed him. I don't know the whole story on it, but that happened on that was Falcon or Amistad, one of the two. But they're both on the border. That's a big old lake too. It's a great bass fishing lake. So
they don't normally fuck with people unless you fuck with them.
Now on the Texas coast, they gig flounder. So I'm assuming it's legal to shoot flounder with a bow too. Then.
Yeah, there's probably certain areas that they do have some regulations on that. I've never done it, but I do know that there's bowfishing for flounder. I'm trying to think what else. There's another sort of fish that's down there too. I don't know.
Probably a mullet. It's probably a mullet.
Yep,
that's a trash fish. But they eat the shit out of them in Florida, in the panhandle of Florida. The mullet's a big delicacy for them.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know anybody else that ever eats them. But everybody I've known that's from panhandle Florida, they're like, hey, y'all are dumbasses if you don't eat them. They love them.
Yeah, that's like a lot of people from Wisconsin. You can't. It's highly advised not to eat a muskie, but man, that's made right. That's a pretty good eating fish. But
so why do people not eat muskie? Is it because of the flavor or because of the bones? I've always wondered about that. I'm glad you bring that up.
I mean, there's a way to flay them. You can get them Y bones right out of them. I know. I mean, like my dad said when he was growing up and stuff, they'd eat muskies all the time and bake them, and they're.
Well, they were hungry then.
They were hungry, but yeah, that's a good point. I think now everybody's just all on the big jumped on the bandwagon for saving all the muskies. It's a trophy, it's a trophy fish. Wisconsin's got a lot of Class A muskie waters too. So, I mean, a lot of our lakes around here, they got to be 50, 52, 54 inches long, and I mean that's kind of a fish of a lifetime. And obviously you're not going to cut the head off one of those, but there's a few streams and stuff where I still think the state minimum size limit on muskie is like 34 or 36 inches on somebody's water.
They throw them back too, though, right? That's a catch and release deal. If you catch a big muskie, you want to let it go back.
Yeah, I know. Right here, I work in De Pere, and the De Pere Dam's a pretty early in the year fishing for walleyes. They come up there and spawn, but a guy who pulled like a 55-inch muskie out of there, and that's a huge fish.
What's the biggest? Have you seen some big muskies while you're fishing at night?
I have, yeah. I've seen a couple. I mean, it's hard judging them because the water kind of magnifies a lot of things. But if you can kind of gauge at the side of the boat, if you can get pretty close to them, I mean, a lot of mid 40, upper 40-inch fish I've seen.
Can you?
Go ahead.
Can you shoot pike?
No, I'm not in Wisconsin.
Can you in some other states?
Yeah, I believe South Dakota has a short season where you can shoot them with a bow and arrow, and I thought Michigan now does too.
That's pretty interesting.
Michigan does?
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I think they put in a season where you can shoot. I'd have to double check on that. Not that I've ever gone over there, but that's just kind of what I've heard around in the Midwest area.
Yeah. All right. So my question of the day is, how badly fucked are the Packers going to be without Devontae?
I think we'll be just fine. I think the club plays as a team. I think we've got some young blood in there. Devontae, he's fun to watch. I mean, when you broke him down and watched him run routes, it's a pretty tough guy to replace. But Devontae didn't get to where as good as he was without a good team and good coaching staff around him. And I think we got a lot of them same coaches and players to bring everybody else to a good pick up their level.
Aaron Jones might be the steal of fantasy football drafts. Might be.
If they run him out of the slot, he will be.
Because he might catch 100 passes this year.
Yep.
And in a PPR league, like he might be a league winner.
I think the Packers go 13-4.
You know what? That's right about where I was thinking too.
13-4.
It seemed like they're probably going to start out kind of rough, I'm guessing. I don't know. At least Rodgers is in training camp this year, and he's going to be around a team. I think that'll help a lot. But it seems like the last couple of years they kind of start out pretty rusty, and then they seem like they get the ball rolling. But I'm not sure. But I think 13-4 is probably pretty good. I think that'll get us in the playoffs and have us have a chance at a pretty good run.
Aaron
Choke
Rodgers, they're gonna be in the playoffs again, but they're gonna go 13-4. He is going to make somebody a big time rich millionaire.
Yeah.
One of them
What did he get
receivers.
hurt at?
One of them receivers that nobody knows nothing about is going to catch 100 to 120 passes for 1,300 yards and is going to be a superstar. And then when Aaron Rodgers leaves, that guy's going to be back to normal again.
Mm-hmm.
But Brett Favre did that with that Shinchenko tight end at Minnesota.
Well, and Percy Harvin.
And that's what's going to happen is Brett Favre. And it might be that kid from South Dakota State that they've got.
I mean, and look what they did with Greg Jennings. Greg Jennings, he went elsewhere and he struggled. So
yeah, he is going to make somebody a superstar. They've got a great defense. They can run the ball. They've got two very good running backs. But I think Aaron Jones turns out to be more of a hybrid Debo Samuels type deal. Instead of a wide receiver to running back, I think you're going to see him play the wide receiver spot a lot.
So here's their schedule. Open up at Minnesota. I'm going to go ahead and say that's a loss. Chicago for the home opener on Sunday night. That's a win. At Tampa Bay.
You can't count Aaron Rodgers out of any game.
No, you can't. But
Tampa Bay's only as good as until Brady gets hurt.
they play at Tampa Bay. I'll give that to Tampa Bay. So that's 1-2.
Yeah, that's a tough place to play.
New England, they play them at home. They're 2-2. The Jets
3-2.
3-2. Washington Commanders
4-2.
At Buffalo
4-3.
4-3.
They better get on the high horse. They're going to win 13 games.
At Detroit,
Win.
They play the Cowboys at home.
Win.
Tennessee at home.
Win.
Philly.
That's going to be tough.
At Philly. So
That's going to be tough.
That's 4 right there, right?
Yep.
And then at Chicago, they play the Rams at home. That's going to be another tough game. And then Dolphins, Vikings. I think they beat I think they'll split with the Vikings and then Detroit. So, yeah, right around there.
We got a fairly easy schedule for the most part compared to other years.
Buffalo, Tampa Bay, Dallas.
Tennessee.
I don't think Tennessee's going to be very good this year.
Philadelphia and the Rams. There's some good ones on there. That Buffalo game, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
What day is that?
Day before Halloween.
Okay.
October 30th. On Sunday Night Football.
Look up Buffalo's schedule real quick.
Oh, Jeff's vacationing, so he's wanting.
I'm gonna be in Buffalo in mid-October.
Well, I was at the coldest playoff game last year, and that turned out pretty disappointing.
You were at which one?
The playoff game.
Oh, the playoff game.
The playoff game. The first playoff game. It was about 2 degrees. I had every piece of my sit fit suit on that I could fit. It was a cool game.
That place and we fucking lost. I still don't know how, but that place looks cool during the playoffs because it's like Blaze Orange Central there. Yeah.
There was 70-some thousand people at that game. I think 72 or 75,000 people at that game.
When are you going to?
That's what I was looking at, like October the 18th weekend or whatever that weekend is.
You could watch your Chiefs there. No, they're in Kansas City. I'm sorry.
So when are they in Kansas City?
Week 6, 10-16. And then they're on a bye week 7.
Okay, then I'm going to miss it then. I think we're there with the week 7 then.
They won't be playing.
Maybe me and Josh Allen go have some wings and a beer.
There you go.
Introduce myself.
So how do you handle the late nights? That would be my one booger with all this.
You kind of get used to it this time of year. It's a grind. Shoot fish till if it's a school night. A lot of times I try to be in by 2-3 o'clock because by the time I get home and don't fish, come on. I did that stuff when I was 21 years old, but instead I was at a tavern, So. but 2-3 o'clock. By the time you get home, pressure wash the boat out, go dump fish, take a shower. If I can get 3-4 hours of sleep and work the next day, that's fine. I can do that for 2 or 3 days in a row, and then I have a shutdown day where it's sleep.
What do you do in the real world?
Sell boats.
You sell boats?
A marina here.
I'll bet you on your 3rd or 4th day in a row fishing, I bet your boss is like, I wish that bastard to go home and get some sleep.
I wouldn't be worth shooting.
Yeah.
Is he? Because my guides...
Well, and then in this industry, since COVID and all that stuff happened, our boat sales and just it's been kind of demanding.
Oh yeah. But I noticed when my guides used to go to Canada and then they would come back to work, in Texas, and they'd go September, and then by Christmas they weren't worth shooting. They were no good at all in January. The guides that come in start at Thanksgiving and work are great through the end of January. Everybody's getting tired at the end, but I can bet by day 4 of you fishing in a row, I bet your boss is like, "Why's that little fucker stay home tonight?"
Yeah, it was. I mean, our tournaments, that I'm shooting are done for the rest of the year. Tournaments are, you're out scouting 3-4 times that week on that body of water where you're going to be shooting. And after that tournament, you get all day Sunday pretty much. I'll sleep from noon till 6 o'clock the next day just to kind of recoup. By now until, it's starting to slow down. I'm not going quite as much. I know I got a few people yet I got to take out. But by the end of July, I'll be done. August will be rest, and then get them guns ready because September 1st is our early season goose and dove season, and we got an early season teal that opens up, and it's so I'll normally scout and prep all my stuff for waterfowl hunting through August. Kind of get the carp shooting boat and stuff put away, and time to prep for the big waterfowl season.
My last question: have you seen a decline in fish? As popular as this getting, or because waterfowl like mallards, 15% of the mallards die every year, no matter if we shoot 11% or if we shoot 3%. The mortality rate is 15% or close to it. Do fish? Have you noticed a fall off on the number of fish? Because like the wild pigs here, they're shooting the pigs like shit out of helicopters, but you don't see any difference in the numbers at all.
Yeah, I think numbers wise, it depends. If the smaller the body of water and the more pressure in shooting it, you'll see a little bit. There's a body of water real close to my house that I spent quite a bit of time on, and there's still a lot of fish in there, but I think the size is probably impacting more. I love shooting big fish. I love shooting 20, 30 plus pound carp. And so a lot of times if I got guys that don't get a chance to get out and do this that often, I let them fling arrows and shoot all the pods of smaller ones, and I'll just kind of hunt for the big one. I think certain bodies of water, I think I noticed that the big size common carp and stuff like that are starting to get an impact. But we're on. Think about how many. I don't even know how many acres of water there is here from the Bay of Green Bay, the whole Fox River, Wolf River system, Lake Winnebago. It's a very big body of water, and there's a lot of fish that nobody even sees.
Yeah, but on the other side, you said you think that other fish are doing better now that you're getting more and more carp.
Oh, I lost sound.
Did you lose me?
Oh, I think I just got you back.
There you go.
Yep.
But you said on the other side, you think that you're seeing more fish from other varieties that carp would normally destroy, like their nests and stuff, right?
Yeah, I definitely, I would say, the perch fishing around here really took a tumble. I think some of that too was some of the regulations, how many you can keep per day. They adjusted some bag limits to help that population get back. But perch are big spawners in real shallow water and sandy weed edges and stuff. And that's right where the carp go. They're in there kicking that up. And if you've ever seen a day where they're full blown spawn, they just make a mess. They'll sit there for 2 or 3 days and just turn all that up. And I don't know how many fish eggs that they suck up, but I know that is a source of their feed too. They'll feed on other fish's spawn or their eggs and fish beds and stuff.
That's crazy. Well, man, we appreciate you hopping on here. It's been a lot of fun. So you got a couple more. You'll go to about the end of July and then start switching gears to waterfowl hunting, huh?
Yeah. Yep. I'll start getting the bow stuff put away. By about the end of July. That way it gives me a month just kind of relax and there's a lot of equipment that between the generators and stuff, kind of get all the oil changed in the boat, the fan, the motors, and go start organizing all my decoys and stuff, which kind of everything is from where I put it away last year. But
you must have a very patient girlfriend.
Yeah, she's I have the only excuse. I'm like, you know what I do before you met me, so it's just part of the program. You signed up for it.
That's right. Just make sure you don't deviate. Well, listen, it has been a pleasure talking to you. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and dove and waterfowl season is just right around the corner. So enjoy the last little bit of it.
Awesome, we'll do.
All right, bud.
God bless you, bud. Got a damn tongue tied. God bless you, bud. You have a great day. Be safe, and have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, thank you, Nick. Nick Sebold, interesting guy.
Yeah.
Goes and gets it, boy. I tell you what. It'll be a long, long days for me. 2
to 3 hours of sleep and be just fine.
Living his dream, though. That's what you're supposed to do. We need more of that in life.
It'd be tough.
Go live what you want to do. Don't forget about our sponsors. If you're looking for a dog, check out Double T British Kennels. It's the time to get a dog. If you're thinking about getting you a gun dog, they got every kind of level of dog. Go check them out at Double T British Kennels.
Yep. I wonder what that would be, because you'd have to get it here pretty quick. July 5th. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to get a started dog.
You can start a dog. You can get one in September.
You could get an 8-week-old right now and start it in the program, and it would be ready. It'd be rough.
That'd be for next year. My advice to anyone is to try to buy a dog that's about a year old that's already been through a year's training.
Well, I'm just looking at it for me.
Right.
I could take an 8-week-old puppy now, and then another 8 weeks. You're looking at 4 months.
Yeah, but you'd have another. You'd have 16
waterfowl
weeks.
season would be another 2 months after that.
You'd have a 6-month-old dog when we start shooting waterfowl.
No, Lou was older than that.
Yep.
Lou
was a year old almost. He was 8 months old.
He was 11 months old. Lou's a December baby.
That's a big difference.
Those
so are you thinking about getting a dog now?
No.
Your wife be thinking about a divorce.
No.
All right. Thank y'all for listening to us. We're still working out on the bugs and the sounds and everything on the new studio. We appreciate all the downloads. We had another record month by a long way. Shattered everything, weeks, months, everything. We just keep growing and growing and growing. We appreciate it. Share this with your friends. The first family of waterfowl will be out later this month on YouTube.
9 days away.
9 days away. Thank y'all for listening to us. God bless y'all and have a great week.
Go check out all of our great sponsors. Go check out Bangtail Whiskey, Dive Bomb Industries, Pacific Calls, Boss Shot Shells, Gundog Outdoors, Shin Gear Waders, Lucky Duck, Looking Glass Duck Club Podcast, Alpha Outdoor Specialties, Bangtail Whiskey again, Stanfield Hunting Outfitters, Double T British Kennels, Dirty Duck Coffee, and Ducks Unlimited. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this episode of the podcast, we are joined by Nick Sebold. He is a bow fisherman up there in the great state of Wisconsin. Love my cheeseheads. Fun podcast. I know very little about bow fishing, so this was a learning experience. So we hope that you enjoy it. Great guy. Here he is, Nick Sebold.